All right, hello everybody. Thanks so much for joining in today. Welcome to another AMA here in the Polygon Discord. Today we're speaking with an extended reality media company called New Canvas, and we have the co-founder and chief strategy officer with us, Wadooah Wali. I hope I said that correctly.
You
Um,
did. You nailed it.
awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah. Um, I'm super excited to have you here today and to talk about New Canvas and all the awesome stuff you're working on, such as the illustration series. But before we dive into that, I want to do a quick introduction on you. So why don't you share with us who you are? What's your backstory? What were you doing before getting involved in like the NFT and crypto space, and like what got you into the space?
Yeah, absolutely. So my backstory is I've spent a lot of years in tech and new media, and especially, the past 10 years, ridden the different waves of online video and social media and those evolutions, and then parlayed that into working for a big traditional media company called Wadooah that you may have heard of, and it was interesting to find just how they're looking at ways of engaging audiences as well as creating content. And I would say at the core, I've been an OG storyteller since I was young. I told my parents I wanted to write, direct, and produce stories for screens, and they couldn't see how that was done, and they told me that I'm going to be a starving artist, and because they didn't know how many successful Black female writer, director, producer people there were, just being practical people. But I never give up on that dream, and so lo and behold, years later, I'm here in the backyard of Hollywood and have been creating content and promoting content and working with creators. I actually have an award-winning documentary film, and then also launched an LGBT streaming service called Reverie.tv a couple years ago. So I have definitely been interested in not just the creation of content and telling stories, but the business of media. And so that was really kind of at the heart of what got me started thinking about this next chapter, which happened, of course, during the pandemic. So I spent a lot of time in my Oculus headset, and actually before that, when I left Warner Media, I went on what I call walkabout to Australia, and with the idea that maybe by the end of 2020, I could see myself living and starting a new chapter in Australia, which is where I actually met my co-founder, who was working at a different XR company. It was called Start Beyond, and they were creating not just narrative content, but also like educational, informational content, like taking a journey into a nuclear lab, physicist lab, and doing those things. But it was at that time, I think it was they were doing like a happy hour thing, and we just really hit it off. And so before I got back on a plane to fly back to the U.S., I asked Nathan Anderson for to coffee, and so we met up, and I was just like, look, I think what you guys are doing here is cool. I think that a lot of people are waiting for the big boys to jump in because think about it, this is like March of 2020, and I was like, but whatever Facebook does or Apple does, it's only going to be a small component of what actually is their entire business. And so, but nobody else is really pushing ahead in this space. And what's really going to bring consumers and bigger audiences into the space is content. And I said, and I think there's a huge opportunity in narrative. I mean, like gaming is great. I play a lot of games, played a lot of, you had a lot of consoles over the time. And when I flew back, like I said, we, flew back right into the pandemic. And so I found myself spending more time just kind of exploring what was going on in VR. And so Nathan and I kept in touch from afar, and we just kept talking about different things and the future. And by the end of 2021, Nathan was just like, "Yeah, you seem to really be passionate about this. How would you I mean? Would you like to join?" And so I officially joined New Canvas at the beginning of this year. And one of the things that in addition to just talking about pushing ahead into narrative content for immersive spaces, Nathan and I found that we were philosophically aligned in our excitement and our curiosity and our desire to push the next for storytelling. And that involved how can we reinvent these media models using Web3. And both of us had been like fringe. Not, I wouldn't even say players. We were watching the space. I mean, like we've been watching the space for years, but when we really leaned in and started to think about what that could look like, not just beyond, creating coins, but, like actually involving the blockchain and the actual design of how we create content and how we protect creators.
Wow, that is so cool. I think it's phenomenal that like you just pursue your dreams and despite any like doubts surrounding them, just one of my favorite quotes is about how like the only people that change the world are the people that are crazy enough like to believe that they can do so. So I think
Yeah.
that's so cool that you just like didn't care about what anyone thought and just did what you wanted to do. And it sounds like you have so much experience like in the storytelling space now. And storytelling I suppose is something that's as old as like human language itself, right? Like we've been
Right.
doing it forever,
Cave
and our
drawings and
methods of
yeah.
telling stories have been continuously evolving. So I'm curious, like, when it comes to extended reality, like, do you see this as like the next big breakthrough for storytelling? And like, is there a difference between virtual reality and extended reality? Like, what separates the two?
Yeah, no, and totally. I mean, it's funny when I was leaving Warner Media. That was when that was just right before. I mean, everybody was heads down and focused on launching HBO Max because you know traditional media has very much been focused these past few years on streaming and the streaming wars, and this is what we've all been hearing about, and everybody's been talking about D2C, the direct to consumer model, and we see this as the next true actual direct to consumer model because we're taking out the middleman. We don't, like this is our content has the opportunity to reach our audiences directly. The creators have the opportunity to connect directly with audiences. I mean, our involvement using NFTs and social tokens, as a new model for audience engagement, like brings together the best aspects of transmedia, loyalty programs, and crowdfunding. So, like at this point, streaming is pretty much peaking and we're starting to see a lot of consolidation. We're starting to see, these services that were, building up their walled gardens, looking at ways to bundle and get, to keep the audiences. But at some point, it's just like, I mean, like this is a great area of content, by the way. I'm not gonna deny that there's so much good stuff to watch, but I think that people's tastes evolve, and we saw a lot of that during the pandemic. Like also the social aspects of this immersive media, and so that's part of what the extended reality experience is. It's not the lean back Netflix and chill. It invites people to really step into these worlds and try out different types of immersive content. And so whether that's gaming and whether playing putt putt mini golf or poker, there are times that I just wanted to experience this, and I think that's the beauty of these evolutions. Like once upon a time, people only had radios, and then television sets started being introduced, and the content on the television was basically at that early time was just recreating these old radio programs, and at some point that experience started to evolve, and because people got mature and hip with it and they wanted more, and so we continue to see that even with the offerings of IMAX, and I think that it's really exciting to think about what's next. And just going back to what you were saying before, as we're doing this, we're getting a lot, like there's a lot of, I think now, like at this point of the year of 2022, people are starting to wrap their heads around it. But I think just people, naysayers, or people not having that vision of like, this is what's coming and this is where, like get here because, or you're going to be, piling in too late. This is what people want. Like we've grown up with digital media, and this is the next evolution. And so like XR sits in the space. I mean, especially our company sits in the space of XR. I mean, of the metaverse and Web3, and we're excited to push those things.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree that these current streaming services, it's getting really concentrated, and yeah, it's all like really much the same and a bit like um, I don't know, it's like getting stale almost. Like it makes sense.
I
We
mean,
need like better ways of storytelling, like extended reality that's more engaging, more hands on. Really like
it's like the peanut butter sandwich, like it's suited a peanut butter and jelly, good old peanut butter and jelly, but at some point you want something a little extra. And then, just going back to your other question about what makes XR different is that it's a little bit more all encompassing of the new types of platforms and formats coming online. So right now, we have a series that's a virtual reality, but we're not limiting ourselves to projects that we start to work with creators to just virtual reality. We're also looking at the AR space, which is really exciting as well. And then, like what else? Because it hasn't been invented yet, or it's being invented now and it's just coming online. So, we want to set ourselves up because we think that, even beyond games, that there is an audience of people that are just curious about what's next. I mean, like, I think there was a lot of conversation about people going to the moon and different, Amazon and Tesla and whatnot. So, people are ready for new things, and we want to be that company.
yeah, most definitely. And so these extended reality experiences, I understand that you currently have a series out called Lustration. So I'm curious, how does it take advantage of this XR technology? And I don't know, what can you tell us about Lustration?
Yeah, absolutely. So lustration it's basically it's based on a sorry, it's still pretty early, so and I haven't had my coffee yet. I tried to like muscle through this, but it's created by a leading First Nations creator called named Brian Griffin, and the series itself was co-funded by Meta. Um, and the way that lustration takes advantage of the space is you're dropped into the world, and when you're watching the each episode, you have the opportunity to watch the story from different perspectives. So and each perspective, I mean, like each, it's almost like different camera angles. So sometimes the story is taking place in one reality, and sometimes the story is taking place in the what we call the between, which is the afterlife. And ultimately, the story is about who do you trust, and misinformation, and so Ryan really created the story itself based on just learnings from thousands of generations of his ancestors, his Aboriginal ancestors, and they're thinking that story is earned, and so for audience to really participate and understand what's happening, they have to lean in, and so that's what's really exciting about these the series, and each episode is about 6 minutes long, but we find because people click through and watch through, watching the different lens perspective, or different perspectives, to pick up more information about what they watch, and like it can be rewatched multiple times, and you can learn different things, and you can also hear different things because it's all, there's spatial audio. So if you're standing outside the door with one character, you're not totally being able to hear and be present in the other side of the room, but in the other side of the room, you're in there with some characters that are doing other things, and who knows, like, so it's definitely a journey, and we're, like, we push the limits. I should take a step back and say that the story itself is based on a graphic comic that Ryan created previously, and so we're just expanding this world now in the XR space, and so we used an application called Quill, and really took it to task. I mean, like we were being told as it's being created that that our artists who were like doing these illustrations by hand, like they were doing things that even the creators of Quill itself didn't even know was possible. So that's that's really fun, and that's really part of just pushing this XR experience is, like I said, just what's next and what's possible. So um, I'm trying to think. And each episode is told from a different character's perspective. And again, like I said, just because it's not just a linear story where you're like, okay, this happened, here's the first chapter, and this is what happens next. But it's really like an immersive experience where you not are not just immersed in the world. You can look around. You can not necessarily interact with the characters, but you're in there. There's a scene in one of the episodes where you're in the car riding along, and you have you have the perspective of being in the back seat, or looking from the outside end of the car as the action is happening, and then something else happens, and it kind of just goes right through you. So it's really I don't because it is a little bit of a fantasy noir style story. I'm trying not to give too many beats, but I really am trying to tease it a little bit. And if we want, I can see if I can tee up this here trailer for folks if they would like to check it out.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Um,
Ooh.
so you mentioned that there's like different lenses that like the story can be viewed through. So I know oftentimes with a book, like you'll read a story and you'll like interpret everything through the eyes of the character. Um, when you enter illustration, are you a character within the series, or can you be like are you more like a fly on the wall, silent, invisible spectator? How does that work?
Yeah, you're kind of a fly on the wall. You have the ability to be character agnostic, and because some of the characters are to for all extents and purposes um, there to help the story, help the situation. But the question is, are they really helping, or are they really hurting? And so, like I said before, about being able to the reason why people are encouraged to click around is so that you can get the 360 story and the different perspectives of what each character is experiencing, hearing, seeing, in order to come to your own conclusion.
Ah,
So
that's so
it's
cool.
yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of I think it's like it's probably just a little bit shy of a choose your own adventure, just because it's not like, okay, here, click here to have this happen. Although I will say that like those are types of stories that we are interested in and have talked about as well. But at least this one, especially being newer to I mean, like, for the space where it's at currently, and for people who are just experiencing this. I mean, just the fact that they're like, oh, I don't just sit back and watch and have the whole story pushed to me. Oh, I'm supposed to actually do my own work and figure out what's going on in the story is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think that is really exciting, and I gotta say, I love the artwork. Like, it has this. I'm an anime enjoyer, and it has this like 3D anime vibe to it. So I think that is really really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's really I'm curious to see. I mean, like, because we've, especially now that there's new types of technology to help us with the storytelling. As we're looking at season two, we're looking at ways to evolve even the way the visuals look. But at least for this, we thought that, and this kind of comes back to the crypto part of it. When we're thinking about social tokens, we're like, yeah, we should actually, especially because we want to make them a little bit more utility type of NFT in the future. But at least in the first part of our NFT rollout, our crypto rollout, we wanted to kind of create this model of fandom. So, like, people would collect cards before you could actually collect these like these limited edition NFTs that are very much tied to each of the characters. And I think part of that was the idea for that was having gone to NFT NYC and listening to Spike Lee talk about his NFT project, which is all based on his first film that he actually owns the rights to, which is something we'll come back to just about again why we wanted to go this route. Some people may have been hearing that Quentin Tarantino was trying to NFTify his script for one of his movies, but because as a creator in this day and age, creators often give up so much of their IP in order to get the story made, and then once the story gets made, it's completely out of their hands. But Spike Lee actually owns the rights and has the original film print of his first movie, She's Gotta Have It. So he created NFTs based on the actual frames from this film, like from the hardcore, the physical film, and has been and to sell them. And it was interesting to hear that on top of selling them, that he's using it as a fund to create a fund for filmmakers, so that because he realized that not everybody has the money to go to film school. So if he's able to help fund first-time filmmakers to tell their stories, and he's helping create a pipeline to create more content. So anyway, like I said, just taking it, hearing a little bit about that, it was just like, oh well, that sounds amazing. Like that sounds like a great way to go. We own the rights to the story. We want to get the characters out there. Let's look, and the artwork itself is artwork to your to what you were saying before, just the unique style of the animation. So that's how we found ourselves launching our NFTs.
That's so cool. This is the first time I've heard that story about Spike Lee. Yeah, that's so cool. What a amazing idea by him to do that. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's inspired, right? And again, this is outside of Hollywood. Hollywood is not traditional media is not thinking about this ways of making sure that other people have the opportunity to create content. It's very much a walled garden, and also just kind of going back to like what I was saying about why we wanted to involve NFTs in to as a means to help creators, is that their name lives on the blockchain forever. So in this current day and age of streaming, we've seen the creators in the audience get separated further and further. They get bigger checks up front, and then their content is locked away from them. But what we like is that with involving our creators in the blockchain, no matter where the content goes. Right now, the series is live for viewing on Oculus TV Store, um, uh, but like in the coming months, years, it's going to move to different platforms. That no matter what happens, creator the Brian and our illustrators will be attached to the project, and with the NFTs. Whenever we sell them, they're getting a cut of it, and that's just going to continue on.
right, right. Okay. I definitely have a few questions. The first of which is like when it comes to your NFT collection and yeah, so what do you see as like the main utilities of your NFT collection, and like what are the main benefits of like having an NFT collection on Polygon?
Yeah, well, I mean the reason why we decided, I mean, like Polygon is just a beast. It's a leader. It's a trusted leader, and Polygon had been on our radar for quite a while. And again, going back to NFT NYC, I got to go to the Polygon Studios house and just hear some of the conversations that were happening there, and I was really impressed with the way that they were not just working in the DeFi space, but also um, working with other content creators. So whether that was Nickelodeon or some other projects involving eco sustainability, it really like opened up our mind. And again, like I was saying, with Polygon being a trusted leader in the crypto space, we wanted to collaborate, and we were excited that we had the opportunity to collaborate with Polygon, because we know that we're bringing new people into the metaverse, but we're also with our NFTs are bringing people into the Web3 space. And so like as we all know, that this year has been crazy crypto winter, volatile markets, and due to inflation and war in Ukraine and various things. So we really scaled back our the initial thinking around how big we were going to go with the launch of our NFTs. With just like I said, at least initially releasing the the fandom around the cards for each of the characters. But in the future, we're definitely looking to roll out, the NFTs with a little bit more social tokens, with a little bit more of um, a utility play that'll allow audiences to vote on storylines and maybe be an extra in the story and have direct connects with the cast. Which I have to say that we were lucky to get Kevin Conroy, who, if you are a Batman, the animated series fan, he is the voice of Batman and has been for the past like 30 years. So yeah, it's really unlocking those fans first, fans only features, but also, like you said, involving the audience in the actual creation and evolution of the story. And again, that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning in terms of this being um, the next, the real next gen direct to consumer model.
Yeah, it really is the next gen consumer model, and I think there's so much potential with the NFTs. There's so much you can do there. It's really just like ultimately up to the creator of the NFTs, like creativity is what they want to do with them and how they want to provide benefits to their community through the NFTs. Like I think we'll see brands in the future, like it'll get like really competitive. How brands can provide more value for their communities. Like I don't know. I look at like things like designer clothing and I'm like, why would I give them any money? They don't really like provide any value. But you know, these NFTs and having like ownership within the projects that you enjoy is really cool. Like the example you gave of being able to have my input be valued in terms of like where the direction of the story goes. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, and illustration is our. I mean, like we have some other content, but this is our first. I should say it's an award-winning series, VR series under the New Canvas moniker, and we're developing several other stories and with other creators, and looking not just at social tokens and NFTs, but also like what would the creation of a DAO look like for this particular project that that has a story that has ties to infertility and sustainability. So would we be able to create a DAO that not only helps to fund the series, but also gives back to this a sustainability, I mean, a partner that we're perhaps partnering with around future of the environment, which is really exciting. So I think that, and to your point, I think in this day and age that people want to be closer to the things that they're spending their money on. I often talk about how we vote with our wallets. And I think we saw a lot of that big shift, especially in 2020 with the social unrest and politics. And it's like, yeah, people, are now thinking about where their money goes because it's also tied to their attention and their intentions and their interests. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at, and like, but in the entertainment space, and because yeah, this is a space that's pretty nascent to some of those things, like you were talking about brands already being here. So I think we're going to continue to see more entertainment companies enter this space. I think we've already seen some smaller instances of this. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mila Kunis's Stoner Cats, which is an entire series that basically in order to get access to the series and some of their utility features, you have to purchase their NFTs. And I think Chris Rock is one of the main voices in that series. I think another interesting project that we've seen, which is really the first instance of a studio stepping into the mix, is with Fox, and it's Fox partnering with the co-creator of Rick and Morty, which I'm sure that they're fans of that animated series. But they just recently, or I should say, during the summer, they launched their Crapopolis social tokens. So you can buy these chickens, and the series is hasn't aired yet, but it's going to actually air on Fox Network in 2023. But so if you're interested in kind of just seeing that evolution and being a part of that story journey, especially if you are a Rick and Morty fan or a fan of Dan Harmon, we're starting to see more players into the space, but we're excited to be among the first.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. We've seen like these governance models be used for DeFi protocols for, I don't know, it feels like quite a while now, but I guess it's really only been a short amount of time that DeFi has been around. But like, it's cool to see these like models that are traditionally applied to decentralized finance be applied to something like a media company. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what the future holds um, for that.
Yeah, as are we, and like you said, I mean, like we, just to kind of just to weather some of the volatility of the market right now, we really just wanted to focus on like creating a limited editions set of collectible scenes from the series, just to commemorate, Lustration being here. And I have to say that Lustration has just been killing it at film festivals around the world this year, and we're also actually up for Film of the Year from what is that organization, xir.org. So it's an incredible honor to be seen in the space. We're having all kinds of different conversations with different folks about creating more content, and then like we're excited to just use the learnings from the launch of these NFTs, that just to so we can apply it to future launches as we go.
Um, so I know you mentioned there's a trailer for the Lustration series. Did you want to screen share that, or do you want me to just drop it in the chat for people to go check out on their own time?
I would say, yeah, I mean, like we can drop it in the chat for people to check out. I think I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, like, unless you think that people want to take a moment and just actually, let's just roll it. Let's roll it. It's our stage. It's our time. Let's go.
Okay. Do you want to? Are you okay with doing that? Do you want to handle the screen share?
Um, do I want to, and well, can I handle it? That is the question. Let's see. Let me see right now. I may not be able to do this. There we go. That's what we wanted. Second, sorry. Apologies, folks. One moment while we get this going. Do, do. I always say I have a hard time talking and driving. So, okay, here we go. Let's see. Go live. Are you seeing?
Yeah, and hearing. That's good. Good call. Perfect.
So today, I've stumbled across an organization. They kind of run the afterlife like a social club, I guess. And they will do anything to protect that. Even kill.
I'm sorry about this. All of this. I'm going to fix it. For good this time.
I will do whatever it takes to have my family safe.
That's so cool. It's like, I've seen
So
it a
yeah.
few times already, but that was still like pretty hype watching it again. I love this scene where it just reminds me of the Yakuza kind of.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Walking Dead Mafia vibes, says Aditya. And yeah, it's like they run the afterlife like some kind of social club. It's like, whoa, it really like piques my interest. I'm
Well, and
intrigued.
that goes back to what I was saying. Like they run it like a social club. They're the keepers of the social club that, but are is what they're doing and what they're meant to be doing, what they should be doing. That's the question.
Um, I always like to try to, I don't know, pry, get some alpha during these AMAs. So I'm curious, with the Lustration series, like, do you see that going on for a long time? Do you think it'll be kind of like your flagship series, or do you think New Canvas will have like a wide scope of projects they work on? Like, what do you, what's going on behind the scenes at New Canvas? Like, what are you guys focused on?
Oh yeah. So I mean, like definitely, like we've already have plans for season 2 of Lustration. I mean that's going to continue onward. Without going down a path too far with what those plans are. We're also thinking about expanding that IP into other platforms as well. But to that end, we are, like I was saying before, we're focused on. I mean, like we're talking with all types of creators. And we're going to pretty. We're getting down a path on some other projects, especially when you think about. There's been a lot of discussion around mixed reality in VR headsets, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking forward to when Apple drops their headsets. And so there's something really exciting about creating Lustration, which is an illustrated story, but we definitely are not looking to be pigeonholed to just one way. Like we're not just going to be known as the animation VR XR studio. So we're exploring some IP with other content creators that could actually have a bit more social elements, as well as some mixed reality storytelling. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Aditya says once Zuckerberg figures out VR entirely, things like this are going to moon. I
Well,
love it.
I mean, like, yeah, Zuckerberg is dropping some new headsets, but there's also, like I said, Apple is, like a lot of people have their eyes on that, and especially because, whenever Apple enters a space, there's always a boon of a broader audience that follows. But then you can also can't ignore players like Pico, which have just been developing their product overseas, but there's been a lot of talk about them bringing the fight here to the U.S. and really going head to head with Meta. So I think that like I don't get me wrong, I spent a lot of time in my Oculus. It's been my go-to during the pandemic. I was never bored, but I think it's only going to get more exciting when we have these new headsets come into play. And I can't ignore like PlayStation has always had their headsets, but again, they've been more focused on the gaming. But I think that there is a growing opportunity with narrative content with some other folks, and we're excited to be kind of in the hot seat, in the prime seat, I should say, for for those opportunities to work with them.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we're still like really in the early stages of VR adoption, right? Like, basically everybody has a cell phone, but I think only a small percentage of people have VR headsets. Maybe I'm wrong. I at least don't have a VR headset yet. It's on my bucket list to get one. Um, I don't know. What are your thoughts around like virtual reality adoption, and like how do you see? I mean, you're already touching on this a bit, but like, how do you see New Canvas positioned for like VR being more adopted?
Yeah, I think that it's I think that even though we're over the pandemic, I think that gave this space a huge boost because we're all stuck inside, And I think that the the technology itself, the barriers to entering the spaces have become um, a lot easier. And so I think that, like to your point, it's still early days, but I feel, I mean, like what we look at when Nathan and I are talking about this marketplace is that like looking ahead to the next 2 to 5 years, it really just becoming the like a mainstay in a lot of people's worlds. And like I was saying before, especially when you have new players coming into the market with new headsets, and they're going to be looking, I mean, like beyond games and beyond some other live concert experiences. There is an opportunity to push in and create narrative content that people will want to see. So we're really excited and extremely bullish, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation about not listening to the naysayers, like that it can't happen or it's not going to, because guess what? Things do happen, and even if you can't see it, like we have the vision for it, and we do see that that this is a major shift that is coming in the coming years, in the immediate coming years.
Yeah, it's a huge innovation, and I think it'll like really disrupt the entertainment industry for sure. Um, so I'm curious, like, where are the best places to, follow up with New Canvas and Lustration, connect with you guys, and get involved? Like, are there opportunities to get involved?
Yeah, we just around the time that we launched our NFTs last month, we also just launched our Discord. So we're just growing that community there. I think that's a great way to be a part of the community, because then you can hear about updates about lustration, but you can also get in touch with us, because we're still pretty small company, and I am the North America face and voice of the company. My Nathan, who is the CEO and co-founder of New Canvas, is based in Australia, so we've got global reach here. But that's also, speaks to the creating content for global audiences. But yeah, join our Discord. Which can we post that? Oh yeah, you've shared that
Yeah,
in some of the promos. We can post that
yeah, I
in
got
the
your
chat.
Discord, and then I got your Twitter pages as well for people to go
Yep.
follow you. And then I was assuming the best link for actually enjoying the Lustration series is that the Oculus link then that I have posted. Is that correct?
That's where you can go check out the series if you want to learn more about the series itself. And like I said, look at some of the different voice talent that we have, like Kevin Conroy, and who are some of the others? I'm blanking. Don't shoot me. But we have some great voice talent. And also, just to learn a little bit more about the series, you can go to www.lustration.co. And that page also links off to our NFTs. So come check them out. They are, like we were talking about, they are limited edition, and they're very unique, and they're not going to be long for a long time, but and each NFT is entirely unique and generated within our VR software that we use to produce the series. So it is like you getting a piece of the series. You can find those NFTs on OpenSea or by visiting lustration.xyz.
Awesome. And I want to make sure that we cover everything today that you want to Wadooah. So I'm just curious, is there anything that like we haven't spoke on that you wanted to have the chance to?
Well, I mean, I actually wanted to flip in and ask you a question. I mean, because I know that it's unique for a company like ours to be a part of these types of chats. And I mean, like, what was exciting for you? I mean, like, what for a an XR company joining a space that's usually for DeFi conversations. Like, the, who, like, what was exciting for you? Did you have any other questions that to check all your boxes for your audience here? Because we're excited to like I was saying before, we're bridging the space. We're not just bringing new people that have never been in crypto or the metaverse into this world, but also we're crossing the chasm. We're metaverse folks that are playing in this Web3 space.
Okay, well, I have a bit of a confession here. The only time I've ever tried on a VR headset was in a store, and I put it on for several seconds, and it gave me like lots of anxiety because like I'm in a public space and I couldn't see anything that was around me. So I haven't had the opportunity to properly try out VR yet. And like, you know, looking at your project, it gives me a lot of FOMO. So you can probably expect to um, get a message from me maybe around Christmas time that I got a VR headset. I'm going through the Lustration series. Like, I'm really excited to try it out. I definitely want to see what VR is all about. I think this is really cool. It adds a lot of value to blockchain, right? Like, I think blockchain technology is a huge innovation. Like, it's the next big technological disruption. It's really going to change the world, the way we do everything. So, in regards to like onboarding new users, something like this, I think is key. It'll help raise a lot of awareness around blockchain and, you know, reveal a lot of the benefits of NFTs and alleviate a lot of skepticism surrounding the space. So, um, yeah, and ultimately, like, it looks really cool. Like, uh, a lot of the themes, the art, like everything about it looks really cool, really intriguing. So I'm really excited to enjoy the Lustration series myself. And yeah, it's cool to take a break from like DeFi protocols and talk about stuff like that as more entertainment focused for sure.
Cool. Well, I will look forward to you reaching out in December, and you joining this growing community because, like I said, it's going to be taking off. And I mean, I think that, you know, speaking of FOMO, people that were waiting to buy headsets, and all of a sudden these new headsets are coming out with a different price points. It's like, oh, I waited a little too long. But like I said, the you know, like others are entering the space, so I think that we'll see some shifts around those price points for those headsets. But also look for new immersive experiences to try out that, and things that won't make you dizzy, and things that you'll actually like get lost in, like the Lustration series, because like I said, you can spend some quality time just going through and just, you know, like watching and being a part of the story.
Yeah. Um, Thank you so much for doing for like coming out today and telling us all about yourself, New Canvas, and Lustration. I think it's really cool what you guys are doing. So, and
Well, thank you for having us. I mean, like you said, we're excited to be a part of the Polygon and the Polygon Studios family, and yeah, onward and upward. We'll keep you posted on the next launch of our social tokens and season 2 of Lustration and our future projects as well.
yes, onward and upward, only up. I love it.
Only up, and new things to come.
Awesome. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. Really appreciate having you all here. And Wadooah, thanks again. You're amazing. Love having you. And would love to do this again sometime in the future.
Yeah, well, I'd love to. And now that I got the hang of this thing, I'm going to have my coffee, and we'll get it cracking in the early morning. Have a great conversation like we had today. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Great seeing everybody, and I hope everyone has an amazing day. Bye now.
Yes. Bye.